There, friends. It's Leah. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry I'm a couple minutes late. I accidentally went live in the wrong scheduled live stream. So I apologize for that. I will fix that once this live is over. I will make sure to, I accidentally went live in our combined live for next week. So if you see a weird live there, I'm going to delete it afterwards and I will get that rescheduled for next week after this is over. Cannot believe I did that. Anyway, all right. So now you know how my day is going so far. But welcome to Tuesday Live. I'm excited to be here with you. Today, we're going to create a really fun card. We're going to do a little bit of foiling, some stamping, probably heat embossing, ink blending. We're going to do all of the things today. Thanks, friends. All right, I am going to answer this one question that's at the very top of the chat really quickly. Roxanne asked me what the square die set was that we used at the Simon Says Stamp Create event a couple of weeks ago. And Roxanne, that was our stitched scalloped square die set for that card. So just wanted to make sure I answered that real quick before I got going. All right. Okay. Well, so before we get going, I just wanted to say hi and welcome to everyone. If you're new, let us know in the comments. We would love to welcome you. I am unsure if Kinnery is joining me to moderate today. We'll see if she jumps in. I did forget to check and ask that. So it may just be me. And if it's just me, Heather is currently on vacation. If it's just me, you'll have to bear with me. I will probably miss a lot in the comments once we get going. So, pardon me. So, if Kinnery jumps on and she's here, great. If she's not, you'll just have to bear with me a little bit. Christopher Stern, plaid press plates coming back in stock. I don't think I realized they were out of stock, but if they are out of stock, typically it can be anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks for things to restock. And your best bet is to sign up for a restock notification on whichever product it is that you are looking for. All right, we give away a $15 gift card code at the end of every live. So just do what you're doing in order to enter for your chance to win that. We'll pick the winner randomly from the comments. So just chat in the comments. If somebody asks a question and you know the answer, feel free to answer, especially considering it's possible I may be here on my own today. I'm not completely sure. So the other way that you can gain an extra entry into the giveaway, and that is just by hitting the share button underneath. Go ahead and share it wherever you see fit, Instagram, Facebook, in a crafty message you might have with friends, and if it allows it, in a crafting Facebook group. Come back here, let us know you're shared, and you are entered in for an extra entry. And if Kinnery is not here today, I will pick and post the winner when I'm done. So all right, we are about 6 minutes past. Lena, all of the sound is coming through on my end, so you may need to do a refresh on your own browser and make sure that you have the sound turned on. Okay. Great. There is. All right. I got to get going or we are never going to get through this card today. So let me get this switched over to my desktop and let's get my hot fluid system in there. There we go. All right, so today, just get a little give on this right here. Today we are going to just quickly foil one of our nested circles. We're going to do the largest one. So I'm going to go ahead and get that on here and hit the timer button. I've already got my foil cut out. And today I am using rose gold colored foil. that is this lovely color right here. Kennery, she just popped in. Perfect. So we do have somebody to help in the comments so I don't miss a bunch of things. Okay. So we are ready to go with that. So we're just waiting for our hot foil plate to heat up. We're doing a little bit of a throwback live today. We are technically featuring our Arch Florals stamp set, which I love. I think we released them early last year. But I am pairing the Arch Florals with circles instead of arches. So I like that they mix and match super easily. And the live chat is not updating very well on my phone. So while this is heating up, let me just see if I can get this to refresh a little bit on the chat. There we go. Okay, hopefully that will continue to update. All right, so we are good to foil. So let me grab my die cut machine really quickly. Okay, make a couple of adjustments. I don't have the biggest desk in the world for this, but I do want you to see as much of the process as possible. So our timer button stopped. We're good to foil. My platform is really hard to remove from my base, so I always do that before I layer any of my sandwich on here. So there, going to remove that first. Then you want to take your foil and lay it pretty side down over top of that foil plate that's now heated up. Go ahead and add your cardstock. I'm using 100-pound smooth white hammermill cardstock. And then finally, the 2 shims that come with the Glimmer system. Now, the frosted green shim is heat resistant, so it's the one that you want to put closer to the heat source, and then the clear on top. And I'm just going to gently run it through my die cut machine. I don't feel the need to run back and forth. And let's see how our results turn out. If we get any splotchiness, we can always do it again. But let's take a look. Oh, and that just turned out lovely. Look at that rose gold foil. I know when I put it to the light, it kind of almost it almost blows out the exposure, but that is just so lovely. So we were doing just very minimal foiling today. That's all I have for you in terms of foiling. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my hot foil system. I know I technically probably could have just done that off camera, but I figured we would show the whole process and at least do the foiling quickly for those that maybe are newer to the hot foiling world. So we have our circle. We will die cut a little bit later. I'm going to go ahead and set this aside and get going on the flowers and such. So let me just reset my desk here a little bit. And I need to grab my stamping platform. So give me one moment. But for reference, I'll put my stuff. We are going to be using the Arch Florals today. All right. There is my stamping platform. And I think we are good to go. We're going to do all of our stamping before we move on to our ink blending today. So let's go ahead and get the flowers from the Arch Florals. Let me grab this off. This is a nice set of flowers. They work perfectly on our nested arch products, but I have also found that they look really lovely with our circles, and that's what we're going to do with them today. And of course, in true Pink Fresh fashion, all of our elements are combined onto one stamp set, which makes them easy to align with the stencils and then the one-piece die. All right, there's that. So we're going to heat emboss this. And while I'm prepping my cardstock with my powder tool, I see that we have some chatter in the chat about our clearance sale. We have a huge clearance sale going on. We are definitely doing some major cleanup in our warehouse and saying goodbye to designs that have been around for a while. But that means really fantastic savings for you. So everything is 50 to 75% off, free shipping at $100 if you're in the US. So lots of goodness going on. So if you want to, what's the word I'm looking for? If you want to increase the size of your Pink Fresh Studio collection, but not make a huge dent in your pocketbook, then checking out our clearance sale is definitely a great way to do that. Okay. I always feel like I need to stamp for heat embossing a couple times. There's a few reasons for that. When you prep the cardstock with that powder tool, it tends to suck all any type of moisture that you might have in on that, and it removes any oils that you might have on that cardstock. So I feel like the first impression always soaks in a little bit more into the cardstock. Plus, I'm also an extremely light stamper. So I love having a stamping platform. It allows me to do this a few times and make sure that I get a really good impression. All right. I think we've got that good enough. I'll clean that in a minute, but let's go ahead and get it covered in embossing powder and heat embossed. This should work. Ignore my ugly piece of scrap cardstock there. I am going to heat emboss in rose gold today, kind of doing a really feminine rose goldy with purples and blue color palette today. So, all right, that looks pretty good. I will also mention that the cottonwood trees in our area are starting to shed their cotton, and it's pretty much the most miserable time of the year for me. And so my allergy pill just barely touches the surface of the symptoms. So I might be a little sniffly. I may have to pause and mute myself to take care of sniffliness here and there. So keep that in mind. If you hear me pause for a minute, that's probably why. Now, I am going to heat set this embossing powder, and Zoom does mute the embossing tool. So if it goes a little quiet, I will be back once the embossing is done. All right, and that turned out so pretty. I never think that my camera can capture that beautiful look of heat embossing very well, but rest assured, it is really lovely. Okay, I am actually going to just grab a different Misty to do the second part of the stamping. So let me grab that really quickly. We are going to use the Around the Circle stamp set. I really love this big circle that has the thanks for your love and care. So I am basing a lot of my image around this one. I want to make sure I have enough room around it for cutting the circle. Okay. And that should be good. And this one we're just going to do in detail black. Now this has really dainty lines on it. So I am going to just barely kiss the surface of my stamp, and I will go ahead and just stamp a couple times, and I'm going to stamp nice and light. I don't want to accidentally ruin the daintiness. Like, look at how stunning that is. I just want it to be a little bit darker. So I am going to ink it up again, once again, just barely kissing the surface of that stamp. And we'll stamp it one more time, and that should deepen and make that stamp impression a little bit crisper. I just want to make sure that I really maintain the daintiness of this. So I am not pressing hard on my system at all. And look at how amazing that looks after stamping the second time. I just love this sentiment. I love the circle. I love everything about it. All right, I am going to clean my stamp really quickly from with the detail black on it. I'm not too worried about the embossing ink on the previous stamp, but I do like to get detail black off my stamp as quickly as possible. So I'm just adding a little bit of cleaner to it and buffing it clean, and there we go. That's perfect. Well, thanks, Julie. Oh, all right. I can go ahead and put this stamp away because I am done with it and it's nice and clean. If you frequent our lives at all, especially me, I kind of clean as I go. I've got a small space and it's just easier if I do a little bit as I go. It helps to clean up a little bit later. Let's do some ink blending. We're going to go ahead and set aside that. We will die cut it when we do all of the die cutting together. I have seem to have misplaced my grip mat. So I think I'm going to have to do this the old school way, and I will just tape it down to my surface, which bums me out because I like grip mats when you heat emboss because it helps smooth out the warping that you get on your cardstock. But we'll be okay. Okay, so grab some tape here. Okay. There is that. Got it taped down. Then we will go ahead and grab the stencil. And grab our inks. I don't know if I need to, but I have to in case I need them of my ink stands. We are going to start at stencil number 1. And so if you're new to our stencils, they are numbered in the upper left corner. And then they have little notches. I'm ignoring the notches because those are those are for when you use them alone. I am instead aligning the stencil openings to that heat embossed image. So I am just taking my time here. There we go. That's nice and aligned right there. Then I'm going to tape this down into place and and of course I got it a little off when I did that. So let's fix it. All right, there we go. So for our first color, we are going to use peony. And I have 2 brushes here. Now I need to make sure that this brush doesn't have like mulberry blush or anything on it. So I am just going to grab a little bit of alcohol and clean it off real quick. That way, if there is begonia or mulberry brush, excuse me, mulberry blush on that brush, I won't accidentally get it into my peony. So it's nice and clean and I won't have any um, contamination. I grabbed my smaller little brush too, because I want to be able to add a little bit more depth to these because these are just one layer flowers and I'm going to stick with the same color, but I do want to be able to add a little bit more depth to my gradation. And that's where these little small brushes come in super handy. All right. So now I'm going to grab this smaller brush. Goodness, I'm having a hard time with that word today. I am going to just deepen the blending in certain areas of the image, not the entire image, just certain areas. So these two, I'm deepening towards that flower middle on the one edge. Now, on the ones where the flowers are a little bit more whole, I'm just going to kind of deepen around the flower, the entire flower center. All right. And look at how lovely that gradation turned out just by using the smaller brush with the one color. I'm glad you guys love our blending brushes. We do too. All right, so stencil number one is complete. I can go ahead and put this color away. Let's move on to stencil number two, which is the flower middles. So I'm going to just get that nice and lined up here. So we've got this right here. So I'm going to just need to be a little careful when I ink blend my middles in. So I'm going to go ahead and actually grab the small brush, gives me a little bit more control over where I'm adding that ink, and will make sure that I don't get, ink blend over areas where I don't want there to be blending. I'm using marigold, which is my favorite color for flower centers. I pretty much always use it on flower centers. Trying to add a little bit of gradation here and there where I can, but these are pretty small openings. So it's not super easy to achieve, but doing my best to at least get a little bit of gradation on the image. It's okay if it's not perfect. Thanks. I'm so glad sorry, I hear I'm shedding. Back on my train of thought there. I see quite a few people joining live. Glad you're here. It's okay if you're running a little bit behind. I did a little foiling and heat embossing and stamping so far. And of course, this will be available for replay when I end the live. Or when I end the live, sorry. Okay. So there is those lovely flower middles. So our image is starting to come along. We are done with marigold. I'm going to go ahead and put that away. And up next is stencil number three. This is, I've got to find the flowers. There they are. This is the other flowers. These ones are a little bit more like buds or smaller blooms. They a little bit different shaped. But I love that we have the two different option for the flowers on this set. I'll keep doing that. Keep knocking it right out of alignment. Goodness. My stuff is not sticking. It is extremely humid here today, and I think that is just affecting my whole world. My hair, way the tape sticks to my glass mat, everything is just affected right now. Okay. For this one, we are going to use Candy Violet. I got out both brushes. I think I am going to start with my 1/2 inch brush for just those flowers that are a little bit larger in size. And then I'm going to grab my smaller brush to do those smaller, little more budding flowers and to give these larger flowers a little bit more gradation. No, right, Emily? I'm frizzy, stuff's not sticking. I am not a fan of humidity. All right. And these are pretty small areas, kind of like those flower middles. So while I'm trying to achieve a little bit of gradation, it's not going to be much. It's going to be pretty minimal. because the areas are pretty small. Right. Close to done here. Ooh, Carol, I guess it could be snowing. My mom called me the other day, and the area where we are moving, she got snow over the weekend. It didn't really stick or anything, but so I guess that is true. It could be snowing. That is always possible in the north. All right, so there is stencil number 4. We have just one stencil, or excuse me, stencil number 3. We have just one stencil left, and that is stencil number 4, which we are going to start out with Slumber. And I think I might actually add a little bit deeper tone into this one after we cover it all in Slumber. So let's start with that first, though. I'm sorry to hear that, Donna. Sending condolences and all the love your way to you and your family. All right, let's start with Slumber. We're going to use a 1/2 inch brush and just get all of the leaves started. Now, if you're not a fan of blue greenery, that's totally fine. You could always switch this out with green. Won't hurt our feelings, my feelings, I guess. But I really love to do something a little bit different. And I love the option of blue greenery. Oh, Roxanne, I'm glad to hear that I have sold you on washi tape. That's awesome to hear. It is super fun to play with. So it's one of those fun, really super fun products. All right, so I've got a good base layer of Slumber here. Now I'm going to switch. I'm going to grab Stargazer, which is really deep tone, but I am going to use the little tiny brush with Stargazer, pardon me. And we're just going to deepen mostly at the base of everything as much as possible, just to give a little bit more gradation. And a little bit of Stargazer goes a long way, friends. So definitely keep that in mind. I'm just trying to concentrate a little bit here, so it might be a little quiet as I finish up this Stargazer. I don't want it to go too much into my Slumber, so I'm trying to be cautious about where it all goes. Lisa, am moving home to Montana next year. Been in the works for quite a while, but it finally feels like it's actually going to come to fruition. Oh, I feel like that is pretty good. So are you guys ready for the final reveal? Let me just move my ink real quick so I don't dunk my hand in it. I think we're done ink blending, so I will move those. And let's take a look at the final image and look at how fun that turned out. I love how the small brushes can help add gradation, even when you're using the same color. So that turned out super fun. All right, and my live chat once again, there we go. If I'm not seeing many of your comments, it's because the live chat on my phone is not updating very well. So I keep having to kind of press it. So I do apologize. I'm probably missing a whole lot in the comments today. Okay, I can use these for die cutting. Yes, we're definitely excited to be moving home. My mom is definitely very excited about it. We got some stuff to die cut. So let's grab all of the things. We need to die cut our flowers, we need to die cut our sentiment, and we need to die cut our foiled circle. So for those, we need the nested circles die set for the two circles here. And then we need the Arch Florals die to cut out the floral pieces. Oh, thank you, Crystal. Thanks, Emily. All right, let me grab the correct plates. Let's start with the flowers. So we've got this fantastic one-piece die for the flowers. Just use these washi tape pieces that I held down my panels for ink blending. And I'm going to take the time to get the die nice and aligned with that image. All right, I think that looks pretty good right there. I'm going to tape it down in a few places. Make sure it doesn't shift on me when it runs through my machine. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm getting to that age where I do need to view things a little straight on to make sure that I've aligned everything properly. I never used to have to do that. So that's definitely a getting older thing. All right, I'm going to cut these out and I'll be right back to cut out the rest. You know what? It doesn't look like those. Oh, I forgot to add my shim. I forgot that my die cut machine now requires just a thin shim. So let me run those through one more time. I don't know if something changed with my plates, but the last time I created my new plate method, um, I had to start introducing a paper shim into it. So there we go. And in the long run, not a big deal, but definitely something I'm still having to get used to remembering. Okay. So there are our cute little pieces. Goodness, I'll probably use that little bottom for sentiments or something. I've already got the sentiment done for this card, but I can use it on a different one. That smacking that out helped get that little piece. All right, so we have our flowers cut out and we are done with that. Although let's go ahead and poke out, oops, wrong side, any little chads that need to get done. So that is just finished and we'll be ready to use our flowers. There we go. Okay, that's done. Now let's go ahead and cut out circles. Let's start with the smaller one. And I never can remember, I think it's that one. Yeah, I don't think it's the smaller one. Oh no, that would cut the whole circle off. All right. So let's go ahead and cut this guy. And get this nice and lined up so it's pretty evenly centered over that circle. I think you're right, Wendy. I think that die cut machines do start losing their pressure over time. So it's possible that's what's happening with mine. All right, let me cut this and I'll be right back. Hi, Roxanne. Thanks for joining us today. All right, so there's that. You got one more thing to die cut. And I pre-die cut a couple of things just for the sake of time because we know I'm a little bit slower of a crafter, and I'll showcase those here momentarily. All right, and then finally, our nested one. And we are going to cut this one into a ring or like almost like a frame. So I'm going to cut, actually, I'm going to cut the inside out first, and then I'm going to cut the outside. So let's do inside first. You could probably cut them together as well, but I have found that it does give you a little bit more tendency to shift in your machine. So I'm just going to cut them out one at a time, just to make sure I get good results. I don't want that tape to pull up my foiling, but I think we're good. So we'll do the first part. Have a great trip, Beth. And I will say this, Donna. You are not the only one that has chads all over your floor. I could probably sweep, oh, and that ruined that. That's okay. Actually, I could probably use the back. I could probably sweep and vacuum my craft room floor 3 or 4 times a day, and there would always be a chad somewhere on it. So you are certainly in good company on that one. I agree, Tina. I've done it in the past. I've cut them together in the past. But I do feel like they have shifted on me a little bit, so the circles weren't perfect. And while it's okay if they're not completely perfect, I want them to be as close as possible. So for the sake of today's live card, we are just cutting them one at a time. We are almost done die cutting. I'll be right back with this. All right, and that one we got a perfect ring. Perfect rose gold ring. Okay. So we are officially done die cutting. So let me just put all of that away. And then I will show you the few things that I did pre-die cut just for the sake of time. And these were all kind of last minute items that I added, so they were not included in the email, just for reference. Okay. So finally, I pre-cut this fun background, this cover plate die, the floral and diamond tile background. I pre-cut it just from some white cardstock. And then I also pre-cut 2 circles from the Diagonal Stitched Circles die set from our Ocean Breeze and Midnight Navy card or glitter cardstock. I am only going to use one. And I think that the separate sets of these are sold out. However, we do have quite a few of the color sampler pack in stock. And that gives you one sheet of our colors. So let's just take a look at this real quick. So you get all of these in the color sampler. So it's really great to check out all of the different glitter cardstock options we have, especially the colors. We have a metallics sampler as well, but these are our colors. And obviously the Ocean Breeze and the Midnight Navy are included in the sampler pack. So something to keep in mind. This is really great also to have on hand if you want to take glitter cardstock with you, like to a crafting day or a crop or a retreat. And then you just have a single sheet of each color, and you don't have to, and they're all together, ready to go. You don't have to grab multiple packs. So the color sampler pack is really nice to have on hand. And for reference, it includes one sheet of each of these: Jade, Aqua, Ocean Breeze, Candy Violet, Ruby, Blush, Magenta, and Midnight Navy. So just for reference on that. Like I mentioned, I am not sure which color I am going to use today. It's going to just be a very small accent inside of the sentiment. So, but we'll make that decision when we start building our card, which it is time to do that. So let's grab all of our pieces here. I have two card bases already pre-cut and scored. I just have to decide which color I want to use, whether I want to use this very light blue or this nice light pink. So in general, card design, we're going to have our circles and they're going to kind of layer together, and then our flowers are going to pop up. And I think I am going to lean towards the pink card base because I have quite a bit of blue. Let me check and verify that that is what I want to do. Okay. You guys are now getting to witness my thought process here. And once again, I need to refresh my chat because it's not refreshing. Okay. Oh, I'm so glad to hear you guys love the sampler pack. You know, even though there's so much blue, I'm kind of leaning towards the blue card base, honestly. All right, I think I'm going to go with my gut, and I am going to stick to that blue card base. So first things first, we need to glue down the background. I could have definitely done a purple circle as well, but I think I'm going to stick with the blue tones. It's fun fact about me, I'm not like the biggest fan of purple, but I do love our purples, but I still tend to use purple in moderation. And this is a little clogged for some reason. So give me a second to get this back up and running. It's been a little while since I've used it, so I'm not sure it's causing the clog. One thing I should have fixed before this shouldn't take me too long. I bet you there's just a little blob. Yep, there it is. Okay, got it. If you ever are having struggles with your glue, take the cap off and run the pin through it the other way. And typically that pushes out any weird, if you've got a little dried piece or a little glob in there. There we go. Now it's working like a champ. All right. I am just going to try to get some liquid glue where there are actual areas that aren't open on this background. So we might be putting liquid glue on this for a little while. It's a pretty intricate background. I love it though. And I love how it has those cutouts. They remind me a little bit of eyelet, like eyelet lace. And I love that it allows your card base color to pop through. And my glue is being very fussy with me today. It's okay. It doesn't like the humidity either, maybe. Like it is just hot. Like it's not even very hot outside, but the humidity has made my house feel very warm and muggy. Goodness. I agree, Louise. It's definitely some effort to apply liquid glue to this entire thing, but maybe if my bottle would cooperate, it would be a little bit easier. Gotta love when you're crafting live and nothing wants to work right. We're gonna get there. This may take up the rest of my lifetime, but we're gonna get there. We are getting there. Honestly, this is one of those things that I probably could have done beforehand, but I always like to show all of the different parts as much as possible. And we're still doing pretty good on time. So hopefully all will be okay. Hopefully I'm still doing this all on camera. I sure am. Okay. Now my bottle is at least starting to cooperate with me. Was being a it was being a little bit of a bugger there for a minute. Okay, I think we'll just make sure I have some along each of the edges, and I think we'll be good to go. Let me get this edge. All right, perfect. Okay. Any little tidbits off my card base. The thing I love about liquid glue, though, is it gives me time to make sure I get everything nice and aligned to the card. I did, however, get adhesive all over my desk. So let me get that cleaned up before it dries there. And I feel like this is a little bit long on one side. So once it sets, I am going to do a little trimming. But let's grab our paperweights, also known as clear blocks, because I don't use them for anything else. And we will let that adhesive have a little bit of time to sit. And while it does, I am going to put some foam tape on the back of my circle because I want it to be popped up, of course. And so I am going to use my thin foam strips. And if you release or if you take off the release paper, you can really easily curve these foam strips to your to your different shapes. It's really super helpful when you are wanting to do something that's circular or like the top of an arch or anything that basically doesn't have exactly straight lines. This is a really nice little tip. I'm so glad you guys love this background. I love it too. I don't reach for it enough. It does have a lot of chads. I do suggest using the bubble mailer technique with this one. It helps a lot with all of those little chads that need to be cut away or poked out. A lot of them stay behind, especially if you use a paper bubble mailer. Those ones tend to work the best for me for these more intricate dies like this. All right, I feel like that probably should be enough time. So my panel was definitely a little bit larger than my card base, so I'm just gonna trim it. No one will ever know. They weren't the same exact size to begin with. Ooh, I put away a little bit of the card base. Oh well. Okay, there's that. The name of the background die is, let me show it one more time, Floral and Diamond Tile. And as I mentioned, this was a bit of a last minute addition, so it's not linked anywhere. I'll have to update the video description with the couple of additional links of products that I featured today. All right, since we have that release paper off, I don't want this to accidentally stick to anything. So let's go ahead and get this adhered down to our card base. And I'm just going to center it as best I can. It's okay if it's not perfect. Perfect. Just get it as close as possible. All right, so now I have to figure out if I want to use Midnight Navy or Ocean Breeze glitter. You know what? I really like how the midnight navy really pops. Because the Ocean Breeze is light, it's kind of got that same look as the light card base. So I think I'm going to go with the more dramatic of the two, and I'm going to pick the Midnight Navy on this one. Paula, we shared the bubble mailer technique. We have it's like an intro to card making or card making basics video under our tips and tricks section or playlist. And there are timestamps in the video description on that video, and you'll see one listed bubble mailer technique. Okay. Let me grab this foam tape. Y'all know I love foam tape, so we're going to pop everything up. You can always recreate this card and do less dimension. If you want to make it a little bit more post office friendly, you certainly can add less. I have the little butterfly stamps, which are basically the stamps that you can use to make your projects non-machinable, and then it just adds like extra postage to it. And that typically does it just fine for my cards. Slap one of those on there. Okay. All right. So we're going to do the 2 layers on this guy. It is a this foam, the funny thing about this is actually I've used over half of it. So when I got it, it is so much bigger. It's a humongous roll of foam tape. But I do use a lot of foam tape, so I guess it makes sense. All right, nice and centered. That's gonna pop right in the middle. I think this is turning out so fun. And then this guy will just kind of flank the sides. And even though it's made for the arch shaped, look at how lovely it adds to the circle shape. I just think that's super fun. Okay, I need to focus. Let's go ahead and get this adhered down first. Glad you guys are loving the Midnight Navy glitter, pop of glitter. It is quite bold for me, but I think it really makes the sentiment stand out so well. Alrighty, I am going to just gently fluff this. I want to make sure the little stems poke underneath the circle, but I want the rest to overlap like that. Oh, look at how fun this is turning out, friends. I'm not sure if I'm going to use this little corner because it is definitely geared more towards the arch, but I am for sure going to use this cute little flower, maybe just over here on the side. And I think that is going to be really fun. It's possible I could kind of maybe just tuck it in here or trim it. I might be able to trim it too. We'll see. Let's start with just these elements first. And I'm going to just add glue down to those bottom pieces. Let's tuck under. Okay, there we go. Right. And once that glue sets in, that will stay in place nice. And then, okay, this one, we're going to want to do a little bit of glue on the stem and on the middle of that flower, just so it stays in place a little bit better. Just like that. Oh, I love this set, you guys. It's such a good set. I love when we get the chance to do a little throwback live and feature some products that are a little older, but oldies but goodies. Because I love I loved the Circle Floral and the Arch Floral when they came out. Okay, I'm trying to decide if I'm going to be able to find a way to use this cute little piece. I think I might be able to if I cut it. So let's do that. Let's just trim it. Let's see how it goes. Because if I trim it and I hate it, that's okay. I don't have to use it. This card is beautiful as is. But let's just see if I can make these little extra pieces work for me and find a place to put them. I feel like I could actually, oh, I think that's lovely. All right. Do a little bit on the stems here. Oh, thanks, friends. Let's pop this guy in here. Oh, wait, come on now. This guy's so little, it doesn't want to work with me. Oh, I know the problem. I need to add a little more glue right there. Right. Stay in your place. Maybe I just need to check it further underneath. Okay. And then finally, maybe this one will just kind of snuggle under there. Oh, yeah. I think that's perfect. Oh, goodness. And we'll just tuck that guy in there, and that is perfect. All right. I'm probably going to go a minute or so over because I do want to add some jewels. Not too bad considering I accidentally started the wrong live stream. Gracious friends. But let's go ahead and get some jewels on here. Oh, thank you guys. I'm glad that you are liking this. So I am using the Twilight ombre glitter drops today. I thought they were pretty perfect for the colors that I chose for this card. Pinks and purples. It's a little more pop of purple since I know my purple is pretty minimal on this card. Oops. Now the glitter drops, they don't do that thing where you can shimmy shake and they turn over. I think they're just a little too flat for that. So you do have to do some flipping. So I'm just trying to get a good selection flipped over. So I have enough colors to choose from. All right, thanks friends. I'm glad you're liking it. All right, so let's see here. Let's see, what colors do I want to pick here? Let's grab, do a little trio up here. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm changing my mind. I think we're going to use this line. Yes, this is what I'm going to do. We're going to use that fantastic line that's part of the sentiment. Let go. Goodness. And a little bit closer. And we're going to do that on each side. And I think that is going to be the way that I add my gems today. We'll do it here. Too big. Let's pick the smaller guy. There we go. You know what? This side, I might do this smaller. Yeah, that fits a tiny bit better. Perfect. Someone is asking me where I get color inspiration from, and I kind of find it all over. I have my go-to color palettes. Like today is one of my go-to color palettes. But I also really wanted to use these Twilight ombre glitter drops today. And so that is, I somewhat tailored my card around being able to use that. So you can also find lots of really great inspiration on Pinterest, other people's cards. You can use the ideas we have on the back of our packaging as a starting off point. Lots of great places to find color inspiration. I see Kinry has announced the winner of today's $15 gift card code. Congratulations to Melissa Hinkle. You have won the code today. All you have to do is email me to claim your prize. My email is leah@pinkfarstudio.com. There's no H on the end of my name, so just make sure you type in LEA@pinkfarstudio.com. And I am almost finished, and then we can get this camera flipped around and let you guys go along with your day. Let me clean up my glitter drops really quickly so I don't make a mess of them, which would absolutely be something I would do. And that is today's card. I hope you guys enjoyed how it turned out. All right. Here's hoping I am not a total frizzy mess when I flip this camera around. Give me 1 second. All right. Well, that is today's Tuesday Live. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I'm so happy I got to spend the last hour with you crafting, creating a fun floral card. So we do have a scrapbooking live this Thursday. So same time, same place, right here on our YouTube channel at 12 noon Central Time. Just happens to be on Thursday. It is escaping me at this moment who is doing the scrapbooking live this week. So hopefully you guys will join us and you'll get another chance to win a $15 gift card code and some more paper crafting inspiration. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your Tuesday and hopefully we'll see you right back here on Thursday. Bye, friends.